Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Hot Pot. We're at cycle 300, and I, yes, just decided to make a video at 300, but there also has been a lot of changes, so figured now would be a decent time to stop and make sure that's all good to go. So, the things that have changed recently are things we're going to go over here. You can see my Duke count is still the same, and that's mainly because I'm not really producing any more oxygen. For a while, my oxygen was actually falling. At least it was in terms of concentration. I'm not sure how, because the reports have never said that my oxygen was really all that bad. This is going to be kind of inflated on some days, because I've started to run an oxygen diffuser on some days. But yeah, some of these are just awful, and I don't really understand why. But yeah, I've been running an oxygen diffuser a little bit to try to catch up, and obviously this is very limited. But that's really only because I've been finding some algae around the map here and there. Yeah, I'm going to have to probably set up another morb area here pretty soon, but I just haven't really had the space in my base to do that, so I'm going to have to find a way to either really scrunch it together or come up with a different solution here pretty soon. And I don't think I'm quite comfortable getting on an electrolyzer setup yet. That will be the long-term play eventually, but I really do need to find a good water source for that first. And I just haven't found anything great yet. Like, I found the steam geyser, there was a saltwater geyser around here somewhere. That's just not, I don't know, I'm not super thrilled about that. I'd rather have like a polluted oxygen vent or something like that. Or a polluted oxygen vent, a polluted water vent of some sort. Cool slush geyser would be amazing on this map, by the way. That would solve so many problems, but I still haven't found anything like that. So yeah. One thing that's really going on is a power issue. I'm really not able to produce as much power as I would like, and I know that my plants kind of look the same. The problem is that you can see I'm now dripping some polluted water on this right now, but the problem is that this is producing so much heat when I need to use it, and I'm just not producing enough coal, and I just can't keep enough of my critters off of this glum trait. So I may just start using the skill scrubber and just temporarily assign some people to ranching, because I'm just not getting enough coal production out of them right now, and I'm going to have to start getting different power sources anyway. So my ideas for power sources are this natural gas geyser that's down here, because this is nice and free, and I do have steel now, so I can at least build this out of steel. This usually comes with like needing to harbor my natural gas in some area first, and then having enough cooling for the natural gas. So there's a lot of like domino effect that happens from needing something like this. Yeah, so it's probably either going to be that coming up here pretty soon, or it's going to be capturing this steam vent here, or I could potentially grab this hydrogen vent, which is right here, since both of those are really strong. The hydrogen vent's obviously a lot better, but it does require a lot more resources for me to capture and use effectively. So yeah, I'm a little stuck right now. Not necessarily stuck, but like progress is really slow. And I kind of get the feeling that's sort of a trait of this map, considering everything is so far away all the time, and considering the starting space you get is so limited. So I'm having to really be creative as far as how I'm going to expand into these other areas, and I think expanding isn't going to be too bad, as long as I can use carbon dioxide to absorb most of the heat and keep the rest of my base kind of untouched. So yeah, there's a lot of big changes happening right now, and it's a little bit of an awkward transition phase, but this is normally what happens in the mid-game anyway. You really start to need to diversify a lot of your power sources, and since I have so little power sources right now, this is kind of becoming a problem. I don't think that it'll kill me or anything like that, because I have plenty of time to get food up. I have oxygen still coming in at a reasonable rate, so I don't think I'm at risk of dying or anything like that, but this is definitely a really slow, kind of slogging part of the game. So we'll have to solve that. Yeah, I'm checking through my notes here. Oh, metal refiner is definitely up. I have been running this for steel recently. I have stopped, considering I don't need any more steel than I have right now. I am going to get a aqua tuner set up here pretty soon to provide all my cooling rather than this weird like saltwater method. But I'm not in any big rush to get that, because that would be nice, but I don't really have the space to put it anywhere right now. I can't put it inside my base. I could probably just put it somewhere outside, but I still need to like run pipe and seal it off and everything like that, so it's a lot of awkward projects happening all at the same time. Got another exit coming out into space as well. actually looks much better than I thought. I should probably just open this up. Yeah, this just happened, so guess perfect timing to say I have a new exit coming up because now it's up, and there we go. Dupes can now leave from this side. And that's really just to help the building efforts down here. The steam vent is dormant, so this is probably the right time to do this, but I'll deal with that a little bit later. So yeah, the other things that have changed a little bit is I'm now dumping stuff straight into space, so I am now dumping my carbon dioxide that is excess and the salt water into space, just because I don't want any of it, and if I don't want it, I might as well just dump it there. So this is going to be looking a little bit different than previous videos. I'm just using these gas pumps to get rid of any too hot or any excess carbon dioxide to just get it out of there. And same thing with the pumps that are inside like the livable area of my base right now. I just have them venting any excess gas out to space. So maybe Now I'm thinking maybe this is where some of my oxygen's going now that I'm actually considering it. And yeah, there's a couple small packets in there. Not a ton. I'll have to look at that, because venting oxygen out into space right now is not good. And if it's just for a matter of convenience, then I really need to find a better solution for that. So maybe I'll just crank this up. Yeah, which do I want to do this? I think I'll just do something like this. Just going to really crank this up to make sure that these are immersed in carbon dioxide for a really long time. And I'm going to make sure that these are pretty saturated so I don't accidentally blow out any oxygen. Alright, anyway, not very interesting section of the video here. But yeah, we'll move on to a couple other things. I did change my cooling room. My cool water has now been replaced with salt water and is now sitting out in the open like this. And this is for a couple reasons. One, eventually I'm going to need some redundancy on these lines, but I want to be able to have the cooling run through one or maybe two aqua tuners only, rather than a new one for each individual setup. So I do have just a pool sitting down here and a bunch of different outlets for different sources. So like this is what my aqua tuner is putting off. This is what's coming from any of these sections up here. So yeah, just trying to get that replaced and stabilized. And I mostly want to, well, I partially want to do this for existing things, but I mostly want to do it for when I need to start cooling steam turbines. I can hook these up to separate pumps, and I won't need extra aqua tuners every single time I need to do this. So that's the whole idea behind that. That's pretty standard. Doing it with salt water is not super standard. I'm just doing it with salt water because the properties are similar to polluted water. They're obviously a little bit worse, but I don't have a ton of polluted water. This is about all I have. And I haven't been super thrilled about spending it right now, or like putting it in for my cooling room. I don't want it to gas off if I can help it, if it's going to be cool. Yeah, so I'm just sticking with salt water for right now. That's definitely our theme for this game, is finding an oasis of salt water and making it work for us. I also do have these kilns just to get some ceramic up. Also, you do need refined carbon to make steel, so I did get those up as well. And again, I'm just venting CO2 out if it does get too hot down here. So this whole room has been sitting at about like 150, 140 Fahrenheit for quite a while. So this is all very, very temporary. It looks a little bit different around the edges. The contents are a little bit different, but it's all going to be contained inside this big chamber here, which is really normal for how I typically play. And that way I can just cool all this at once rather than worrying about the whole thing overheating. It'll get my base a lot more organized since it's kind of a mess right now. This video's kind of meandering a little bit. I don't think I have anything major that's going on right now that we haven't already talked about. So, yeah, that's it. Happy 300th cycle on the hardest map. We're now at 302. But I'll be back here really soon after some more of this stuff comes up. I might have my steam power set up, and I don't know if it's going to be running yet, because I don't know when this is going to be not dormant anymore. I may have some natural gas. I may have this expansion actually all set up by the time we come back. I may have a aqua tuner room with the steam turbine cooling it rather than this awkward salt thing. Not really sure what's going to happen by then, but if anything urgent comes up, it's obviously going to take priority. So that's my plan. That's what you'll see in the next video if you want to stick with this. Let me know what you think about this series, and if you want to see this for other maps or whatever. It would be cool to hear what you guys are interested in and if you're enjoying stuff like this. But yeah, I'll see you guys really soon in the next video, so have a good one.